Hello, I'm Shane Johnston, Director of Schools in Jefferson County. Wanted just to provide some updated announcements and information as we enter this spring semester and continue to move towards spring break. It's just around the corner, and want parents and stakeholders to be aware of several items. First of all, just again, a thank you to all our teachers, staff, employee, bus drivers, everyone that's involved in the school community, as well as our parents and our family members and our students. We understand this has been a very challenging and difficult year, and we appreciate everyone's continued support and doing the very best that everyone can do to make this a successful year during a very difficult time. Secondly, I want to remind everyone that we will be entering testing season before too long. The state has mandated that we will be giving our normal TCAP testing and end-of-course exams. There are some measures that are currently being considered in the state legislature and different things that will impact the effect of those scores. But it's important that we gather that information, so we encourage you to continue to be at school as many days as possible. And then during testing season, make sure you take those tests very serious when those begin in late April. And as we move closer, we'll have more information on that. But again, we want to gather that information so that we can provide parents with updated information on areas where students are excelling and also areas where students could use some additional support. With that, we will also, right after spring break, be giving our third benchmark assessment known as iReady. And that assessment will help in math and ELA in grades 3 through 8 identify areas where students are having skill deficits or successes as well. But also, those tests will help provide an opportunity for teachers and families to have conversations. It is our plan as a district to send the results of that third assessment home with all students to homes and families so that parents can review that information and then also see where their students are doing well and areas where students may be experiencing some difficulty, and we can all work together to provide some additional support. So be looking for those. We'll have more information in both announcements like this and also from your classroom teacher as we get closer to that. I do want to remind everyone the week of March 15th is spring break. Students and staff will be off the week of March 15th for spring break. March the 12th is that last Friday of classes, and that marks the end of our third grading period. It seems like just yesterday the school year began on one hand, and on the other hand it seems like it's been a very long and difficult year, and it has had its challenges, but we are almost 3/4 of a way through the 2020-2021 school year. So again, continue to check with your child's teacher on academic progress, and then we will have parent-teacher conferences coming up following spring break. Those will be scheduled by individual schools the week of March 29th. So just be looking for announcements concerning that. I do want to provide an update through the close of business yesterday. We had approximately 22 active cases in our school system. That's of our close to 8,000 students and all employees together. That number's been higher, much higher at one point in time or several times throughout the year, and it's been slightly lower in recent weeks, but we've leveled back off. It was as low as 9 just a few days ago, and we've had some positive cases come in. So we are hovering in those high teens, low 20s area, with around 200, give or take 10 or 15 day-to-day in quarantine. Again, that number in November reached as high as 700 in quarantine, so we will continue to follow our safety and health guidelines that have been approved and put in place by our school system and our local health department, and we're looking forward to continue to try to work together to keep everyone just as safe as possible. I want to take a moment so that folks can make some plans. We will get you updated information just as quickly as we have this, but we want to talk about end-of-year activities. It does seem like that's down the road quite a ways, but at the same time, it's just around the corner. First of all, let's start at the high school level. We surveyed our parents and our teachers and our students not too many days ago with 3 choices about high school graduation. 1 is to go to the Expo Center like has traditionally happened. 2 is a ceremony similar to last year's in the midst of COVID and government shutdowns and everything else. And 3 was an outdoor option. Those results came back in, and they're kind of mixed. We're going to kind of review that data. Many people would like to see a traditional. Walter State had told our high school administration at one point in time that they were only going to allow 500 at a time in the Expo Center, which impacts our ability with a graduating class of between 450 and 480 to effectively get everyone in there. So we're going to gather that information, come back to our students and our senior parents with updated information, and get that announcement to you just as quickly as possible. It could be that we narrow our choices to 2 and then put together a plan and present that for your feedback. But we want you involved in that. But we know high school graduation is a very, very important milestone and the highlight of many of our young people's lives and families' lives, and it's a celebration for everyone. So we want that to be as meaningful as we can make it, as safely as we can make it, and following the guidelines of the venues that are available and the different scenarios that we're looking at. So we'll get you updated information on that. It was our desire to get some announcements out and more information next week prior to leaving for spring break then the week of March 15th. Remaining in the high school realm, I also want to talk about prom. Just at this point in time, we have a meeting coming up in the next few days, and we're going to let the high school administration take us through the scenarios that they have studied and reviewed as possible venues. But clearly, it is our plan to host a junior-senior prom at this point in time based on the available guidance that we have. There may be some restrictions. It may look a little different. It may have some who can attend guidelines different in various schools. But at the same time, we understand that events have been allowed to happen all year on the athletic side. Of course, those were governed by TSSAA in compliance with the governor's executive order. But if we're allowed to have those type events, we want to do our best to provide that. Again, that is a highlight, major highlight, and a memorable night for many of our students for the rest of their lives. So it is our plan to offer a prom this coming spring, and we'll get information to the high school students that are involved in that just as quickly as possible. And then 5th grade, 8th grade, end of year celebrations, awards days, we are going to work to where those are consistent throughout the county. It would only make sense that if one thing's allowed at one school, it's allowed at the other schools. Again, it may look different. It may look very similar to last year's where we had 5th and 8th grade walkthroughs, but our elementary principals and middle school principals have already had one meeting, and we've talked about different scenarios in their meeting, compiling their thoughts with their own faculties and staff, and then coming back and we'll get together and get that information somewhere right after spring break so you can make plans. We know work schedules are impacted. Parents may need to take days off. But again, those students and progress and successes matter as well. So we hope to get everyone guidance on end of year celebrations and end of year activities just as quickly as we can. The balance of our time today, I would like to just talk about the recent legislation that was passed in special session by our Tennessee State Legislature. We appreciate their work and commitment to education. And you've probably heard some information about summer learning camps that are being mandated. While they are mandated for our district to offer, your child and no child will be required to attend. There may be students that are prioritized and strongly encouraged to attend, but it is not our plan to make kids come to that. We don't have the ability or the resources to require that. If you are encouraged to attend, it is our plan to provide transportation. Your child will also receive a breakfast and a lunch. By the state statute, currently those are to be 5 days a week and 6 hours a day. We do have some waiver capability in that we can submit a waiver, and that is our plan. And once we get those waivers submitted and finalized, we will get more information. So I wanted to let you know the summer learning camps are for students in grades kindergarten through 5th grade. There are also what's called bridge camps for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, and they basically coincide just at a different grade strand for those elementary grades. And then there's also a STREAM effort, and the STREAM is around STEM education and those things, and those are to be 1 hour tutorials. It can be at the end of these summer days, and one flexibility that we're strongly looking at is actually we can ask for the commissioner to give us a waiver that we can offer those in the fall as after-school tutoring in the fall. And we know everyone, including parents, teachers, and students, all have worked very hard this year. We are expecting, and you've heard the term learning loss. We know scores will be impacted by what happened in March, April, May, certainly in the lower elementary grades where they did not get those last 90 days of school, so to speak, or 75 days of school to fully develop those skills. But a term that we use here is not only a learning loss, because you can't lose something you perhaps never were exposed to. We call it the non-acquisition of skills. So all of these efforts in summer learning camps, bridge camps, and STREAM are just efforts to try to make sure that we're doing everything we can do to help students be successful by coming alongside them and providing academic supports. We'll get you more information on that once we have the waivers with a date. It is our goal that those would basically start there in late May following the end of the regular school year, but conclude somewhere the second week, the third week of June, so that then students have a traditional summer break of a significant length and those type things, so that they have the rest of June and July prior to school starting back. So again, just be looking for that information. If you know your child needs some academic support, go ahead and reach out to your teacher and say, I would like my child to be considered for that. And we'll be putting out those criteria. The state has put in place some eligibility requirements, or at least the group that we are to prioritize. If you know your child is struggling in both ELA and math, and are multiple grades behind perhaps in their reading level, those students would be given priority over someone that is just struggling a little bit and needs some extra help. It's our goal to help as many as possible, and the state is also providing opportunity with some funding to help support that as well. Again, we're developing all of those plans, and we'll keep you involved, and we want to help as many students as we can throughout each and every normal school day, but also in these summer learning camps, these bridge camps, and this STREAM effort with after-school tutoring. There's a lot going on. It's a very busy time of year, and your support of Jefferson County Schools is greatly appreciated. Again, if you have concerns about your child's progress, please stay in contact with your teachers. We are challenging our teachers to do the same thing and reach out to you, and we'll be providing updated information frequently throughout the balance of this semester. Thank you for all that you do. We look forward to finishing this year on a great note, and we encourage everyone to be at school every day that it's physically possible as we together work together and continue to help our students, our teachers, and our staffs be successful. Have a great day, and once again, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for what you do.